So I was originally planning to do a video talking about some behind-the-scenes aspects of this channel once I reached 100 subscribers. But I thought about this a little, and I came to two conclusions. First of all, using a subscriber milestone as an excuse to talk about myself would be a little self-indulgent. And second, why should I wait to do a special video until I reach some arbitrary subscriber threshold? What would that really say to the people who've already bothered to subscribe to this channel? Thanks, guys, but unfortunately there aren't enough of you to feed my ego yet, so I'm not going to put in the effort. This isn't some high school class trip where a certain number of people have to pay up in order to justify the bus rental. It's a silly YouTube channel where I talk about video games using MS Paint. So I'm going to do that special video now. And I'm not going to talk about my videos. I'm going to talk about the people who I should be thankful to for inspiring this channel in the first place. Or in other words, everyone I completely ripped off. And since this is a time when thanks are in order, I'm going to thank people in order of how many ideas of theirs I've pinched, from most to least, starting with... Benjamin Yahtzee Croshaw, in case you didn't know, is the author and host of Zero Punctuation, a video game review show that's been uploaded weekly to The Escapist more or less continuously for nearly a decade and a half. His videos are humorous, snarky, and usually pretty harshly critical of the game he's reviewing, although when Yahtzee gushes, he can really gush. I can barely count the number of little stylistic touches I've copied from Zero Punctuation, using static images instead of video footage, using a single neutral background color to establish a visual identity, mixing real screenshots with cartoonish alterations like googly eyes, and mostly confining music and sound effects to title card transitions, among many others. Yahtzee didn't invent most of these touches, but his videos are where I picked them up. I've actually been a fan of his since before he joined The Escapist, and in all these years I've never seen him sell out, lose his edge, or stop being funny, which is truly remarkable considering how long he's been doing this. I know he doesn't particularly like Americans, but that's okay, because I like him and what he does. And that's why I continue to give him the sincerest form of flattery known to man, which is of course ripping him off. If Yahtzee is largely responsible for the visual aspects of my videos, the aesthetic in other words, Mr. B Ting, a long-form video game critic who has unfortunately quit YouTube since my channel started, is the one who gave me my first ideas for the content, which is to say the topics I talk about and how I discuss them. B Ting had a very unique approach back in 2012 when he kicked things off by complaining about Mass Effect 3's ending for nearly 40 minutes. In that time he managed to bring in tidbits about literary theory, Socratic philosophy, and that perennial of internet discussion, Star Trek. I was extremely impressed not just by how well his arguments fit together, but also how smart he was about bringing in analogies to other works of fiction, and even real life, that helped to prove his points. You may have noticed that I talk about a lot of subjects unrelated to video games in my video game videos. When I was talking about Bioshock Infinite, I compared it to Showboat and Ragtime. I said that Cave Johnson from Portal 2 was a lot like the real-life charlatan Alex Jordan Jr. And of course, just a few weeks ago, I compared the Castlevania series to... No! Bad JoJo reference. Anyway, the point is that this is a trick I picked up back in the day from watching Mr. B Ting's videos. He was exactly the kind of YouTuber I've always wanted to be. Funny without being obnoxious, clever without being pretentious, well, most of the time anyway, and with a huge fund of knowledge that made him worth listening to in a way that most game critics frankly aren't. If you've ever wondered why some of my videos are really long-winded and go on for half an hour or more, it's probably because I was trying to be like Mr. B Ting and missed the mark. I do have a lot of interests, and I do think comparing video games to real life and other works of fiction is legitimate, but there's no denying that sometimes I imitate this aspect of his videos to a fault. Even he could get tedious on occasion. I can only imagine how a scrub like me comes across when I do the same thing. There's one aspect of my videos that I still haven't gotten to yet. Me. That is to say, the appearance and backstory of my avatar. Now, I'm not familiar with any other sentient coffee cup character on YouTube, but the basic premise of a cartoon character with no arms playing video games in the middle of nowhere is quite similar to another YouTuber who I've been a fan of for a long time, the Lonely Goomba. Actually, there are a lot of other similarities as well. We both love older games, particularly on portable systems. We both wrote and performed our own theme songs, at least I think he did, and both of us poke fun at the absurdity of our avatar's appearance. There are some major differences, of course. For one thing, the Goomba is actually a proper animator who moves his lips when he talks, and he uses a lot more game footage in his reviews. As far as subject matter goes, I tend to split the difference between him and Mr. B Ting. B Ting's videos were mostly about broad themes and the gaming industry itself, while Goombas are mostly about specific games. I do about half and half. Obviously, I watch videos from many more creators than these three, But if you mixed up their various aspects in the right ratio, you'd end up with something very similar to my channel. At least in my head, my videos are meant to be something like a combination of Yahtzee's art and snarky sarcasm, B Ting's literary insight, and Goomba's cartoonish charm. Whether or not I actually measure up to this is, of course, for you to decide. We're not finished, though, because there's still one more source of inspiration that I have to thank. When it comes to giving thanks for my channel, one thing I really shouldn't forget is to thank all of you, the people who've subscribed to this channel, the ones who like and comment on my videos, and really anyone who takes the time to watch them. I'll be honest with you. I want to be famous and successful as much as anybody. I make these videos because I enjoy making them, but there's no one on YouTube who doesn't judge themselves at least a little by their subscriber count. Sometimes I get a little disillusioned by the fact that there are channels with literally no content that have 10 times as many subscribers as I've managed to acquire after 3 years of working at it. But then I think about what it really means to have a subscriber. The important thing isn't the number in that little box on your channel, even though it's the first thing most people notice. What really matters is that a subscriber is someone who cares enough about your videos to want to watch the next one. People who have no content don't have anything to look forward to, so it doesn't matter how many subscribers they have. To use Amp Lemon's parlance, every one of theirs is an empty subscriber, someone who just clicked on a button for no good reason. Some people who've commented on my videos have been furious at me for using what they consider to be bad arguments. Others have agreed with me and started some really interesting conversations. And still others have spoken up just to say that I'm boring or that my videos aren't as well put together as they could be. I haven't always enjoyed reading these comments, but I can't say that any of them have been completely unhelpful and mean-spirited. These people, even the ones who disagree with me, are people who care, and I appreciate that more than words can say. It seems to me that a lot of people on YouTube today don't really understand the idea of constructive criticism. They think that constructive means being nice to the person you're criticizing, or pulling your punches to spare their feelings. But being constructive is more about suggesting solutions than about being nice. In fact, I would argue that whether or not criticism is constructive has a lot more to do with how it's received than how it's given. In other words, if you take it philosophically, even an obnoxious comment can help you grow as an artist. So to everyone who's commented on my videos and left a like or a dislike, I want you to know that I appreciate it. To the people who've been nice, thank you for your kind words and for respecting my work. To the people who've been critical, thank you for helping me realize my limitations and pointing out areas where I can improve. You have a bigger influence on my content than you might realize. And to the people who've been just plain rude, thank you for keeping me humble. It's easy to be a critic, and sometimes I've fallen into the trap of thinking I'm better than the people I write about. I know what a great reviewer Matthew Matosis is, and I understand why Arlo has such a devoted fan base. The downvotes on some of my videos haven't necessarily changed my opinions, but they have kept me from thinking I somehow deserve credit just for having an opinion. Other people could actually benefit from having a similar level of negative attention paid to them, as long as they're able to take it in the right spirit. So thanks, everybody. Thanks for being here, and thanks for sharing your thoughts. It means the world to me. And whoever you are, I hope you have a happy Thanksgiving with the people who make you thankful to be alive. That's what I plan to do.